Previously, we got to work tearing apart this really low mileage 05 WRX, 35K miles on this thing. And we're fixing it because the shop prior put the wrong spark plugs in it, and it ended up breaking the valve, the exhaust valve in cylinder 3, killed all compression in that cylinder, so now we're putting a built motor in it. So while the heads for that engine are at the machine shop getting done and built and everything like that, we're gonna go ahead and get a head start on things for what we can do, because there are some things that we can do while we wait for the cylinder heads to come back for that engine, such as get the cap back on, cruise control relocation bracket in, the gauges in here, the head studs on the engine, the fuel pump installed, the water pump on the engine. So I'm trying to mitigate how much downtime this car actually has. Realistically, I try to keep it very short term for how long a car stays at the shop. What we're gonna start with first is getting one of the bigger items knocked out, and that is going to be this catback. This is an HKS catback that's gonna be going on the car. I do think this exhaust looks really good and they sound phenomenal, especially for the price. You can get those for like sub $600, so it's a really good catback for the price. So let's start with our catback. I see it wants to be a pain in the butt. It's fine, I can be a pain in the butt. All right. Woo! There's two. We got a third one right here. You want to go in your home. There it is. Sick. Should, yeah, this one should go into that exhaust hanger right there, which went in pretty easy. And then down here, I had this same exhaust on the on my old 07, if you guys remember that car, that blue one, and I loved it. It sounded great. Catback is installed. Now we can move on. We'll probably do the cruise control bracket next, I think. You have an older 02 to 05 WRX. You have a drive-by cable. Well, it might be 02 to 04. Might not be a, no, it is. Is it 06? I don't remember. If you have a drive-by cable card, not drive-by wire, you're gonna have this module up here, which is your cruise control. So some people may choose to delete this and just not have cruise control. I'm not going to remove cruise control from a client's car. If he wants to maintain cruise control, we can make that happen. So this module needs to get relocated. So this bracket that it's bolted to is gonna disappear entirely, and it's gonna be replaced by this one from the guys at Radiant. The entire reason that we're installing this is so we can run an AOS, because this AOS needs to bolt up in its location from IAG back there where this entire module is. So that module is gonna have to come out. The bracket's gonna have to come off. The brackets will be set aside. The new bracket will go onto this. This horn will get pushed back and kind of moved out of the way, and then we're gonna be able to get our AOS in there, but we have to put the AOS in with the cruise control bracket at the same time. So you guys will see, it'll be a little convoluted. I try to do this so my massive head and hands are not in the way. So this bracket here for the horn, we're gonna bend this back a little bit. We may need to unbolt the horn and just kind of relocate it, but that we can do that if need be. So we've got a 10, a 10, a 10, a 10. There's a whole bunch of 10s that hold all this down. We just need to get this module off both these brackets. Also gonna get rid of this bracket that's behind it. And we need to get this bracket off of here. This bracket can go back on up here in a moment. We'll worry about that one here in a sec. And all this is gonna do is just push this cruise control module down farther and out of the way. So that guy can come up. That bracket's gonna come out. Now we need these little washers that are inside of here, so we can go ahead and actually just push out the metal piece and then just push the rubber grommets out, because these are all going to have to transfer over to the new one. Looking at the bracket now, I guess you don't have to put the AOS in at the same time, but get this slid in here. Can the horn go there? Oh, it can. It can just go right there. Look at that, man. Cruise control bracket and module have been pushed down to the frame. You've got the AOS that is now right above it with ample room below it. And then the horn that used to be up here, I was able to relocate off of this shared bracket here to kind of push it out of the way and tuck it in. And there's still plenty of room right here for this hose. So that is, I'm actually super happy with how that came out right there. Do I want to jump to the engine? We can jump to the engine. No, we'll come back to the engine. Let's do the fuel pump. First thing we gotta do is get the seats out. Bottom will pull out. Wow, dude, that's incredibly clean. Careful when taking these out, because the hooks on the bottom can scratch the paint if you're not careful. I'm gonna try to keep the fuel spillage to a minimum, but some is gonna spill out. It's gonna go out the bottom. I just don't want it to come into the car. That's gonna be for the fuel pump, fuel level, and everything like that. I'm gonna try to tuck this kind of out of the way back here. fuel pump all installed, interior put back together, all done. I'm actually gonna take a little bit of time and start dressing this a little bit more. Things like water pump, oil cooler line, crossover, tube, head studs, anything that I can get on the short block. Let's just get on the short block, get it out of the way, get it done with. So that way when we do get our heads back, we can just get the heads on, get it timed, get it in, start building the fuel system and getting everything else into this engine bay to get this thing done. Ideally, if I get the heads back tomorrow, I'd like to get this thing done by like, today's Tuesday, I'd like to get it done by like Thursday, if possible. Short block is all dressed as much as I could get it done. It's the next day and we got our cylinder heads back from the machine shop. So these got a full valve job on them, BC valve springs, GSC intake exhaust valves, the whole kit and caboodle, brand new valve stem seals, all the good stuff on these. So you guys have watched me put an EJ together a million times. It's not gonna be any different this time. We're gonna get these heads bolted on, get everything torqued down. It's gonna be 30, 60, 90 on the ARP 2000s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for head torque order. Let's get both of these heads on, get this engine ready because I wanna get it into this WRX today. It's already noon. It's actually almost 1 o'clock, so I might be able to get this done. We've got a long block ready to go in the car. I'm gonna wait to put the exhaust manifold and everything on. I don't know, because that H-frame does make it kind of a pain in the butt. We're gonna put the exhaust manifold on first, and we'll do the exhaust manifold in the up pipe right now. Then we'll drop it in. It's still gonna be a tight fit. These GDs are tight with that H-frame right there. So with this, we've got everything timed, Company 23, timing belt kit, OEM water pump. I kind of like these. It reminds me a lot of my EG33 with all of the like valve cover gaskets and all this. It's kind of cool. I like it. I like EJ20, okay? I kind of like this. This engine is getting a set of equal length headers. So all the purists are gonna yell at me. Yeah, trying to get headers or exhaust manifolds on sometimes on these older GDs can be a little bit of a pain because this doesn't always want to get up and over the H-frame. So sometimes it is a little bit easier just to do it on the engine before you put it in. Doesn't matter either way. On these 3-volt exhaust manifolds though, it's way easier doing it off car. I've got the EGT sensor to put in. We're not removing that or deleting that. So with the up pipe loosely in here, that should be able to, yeah, I can still move somewhat freely. See if this one wants to cooperate and go in first or second try. We're caught on power steering pump. Okay. There it is. Now before you ever disconnect the engine, the transmission, or anything like that, get 4 bolts in at minimum. Do a cross pattern or an X. The top 2 and then the bottom 2 studs. We're gonna have to engage the clutch fork before we do anything. And if the clutch fork doesn't engage the clutch, then we've got a real big issue. Right here on the clutch fork, we're gonna push that back until we hear an audible click. If we hear the click, we're gonna go check the clutch. because if the throwout bearing doesn't engage to the actual pressure plate, you're gonna have to take the engine back out. I've had to do it a couple times. It does suck, but got it. You guys hear that click? Now let me go try the clutch. And we have clutch. Beautiful. Our engine is in. Dude, it really does suck when you have to take these back out because that throwout won't engage. It's probably the most defeating feeling when doing this. Our engine and transmission are secured back into the car now. Now we can actually start doing reassembly and all the good bits. So we're gonna jump up top. I'll probably start doing some of the accessory stuff. Get the turbo in, get the power steering pump on, AC compressor on, just some of the basic reassembly stuff for right now. We've got the FP blue all installed, oil drain is on, oil feed is on. With FP, they have you reference this oil galley here, and then it goes up and feeds the turbo. NVIDIA catted downpipe on down there. So this whole section is kind of tucked up and done with. I got the radiator in, I got the new radiator hoses on. I just started using brand new radiator hoses on all builds. Doesn't matter how good or not good your old ones are. We're just swapping them out at this point. So now that we've got the majority of up here sorted, the next thing that we need to move over to is getting the TGV housings on. And then from there, we can start building the fuel lines, getting the fuel pressure regulator in its home. Then we'll probably do turbo inlet. Let's grab our TGV housings, our fuel injectors, our fuel rails, get that assembly all sorted. We can get those on here and then probably jump over to doing the fuel lines next. This guy can snake in here. We reuse the factory hardware. TGV housings and fuel rails and injectors all in. I think I'm gonna jump to the alternator next and then start doing the fuel lines. Because once the fuel lines are done, the intake manifold, all the other stuff can start going back on also. This is where I pretty much left off last night. Turbo inlet's in, TGV housings are on, fuel rails are on, injectors are in. Manifold is just kind of loosely in here right now. So the next thing that I have to do before I can really proceed with doing anything else on the car is the fuel system. So I got a whole bunch of AN line fitting or 6 AN fittings up here and whatnot. So I'm gonna run this one in series this time. This car's not gonna be making big power. There's not really a need to do it in parallel. So series will be totally fine for this. If you don't know the difference between series and parallel, parallel is where you have the feed line, it comes off, it Ys out, and then you have an independent line to feed each rail. And then from there, you have 2 returns that go to the fuel pressure regulator. On series, you have it where it comes out of the feed line, feeds one rail, that rail feeds the other rail, and then that rail has the return back to the regulator and then back to the fuel tank. So I think I am gonna run this one in series. Honestly, there's just not a need to run it in parallel. So, and he's not shooting for big power in the future either, so series will be totally fine on this car. So let's build a fuel system. feed, we've got one line that comes under the, well, I guess it's on top of the engine, but under everything else. Feeds the fuel rail, comes out of this fuel rail, feeds this fuel rail, goes up to our regulator, comes out of the regulator, back to the return up there. I need to put the gauge on here still and run the vacuum line. We can do that in a little bit. We're still kind of on the fuel system because we have a new harness here. And with this harness, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the old harness, but with this harness, we need to now pin this harness to work with Injector Dynamics injectors. So I've got all the pins, the crimps, the plugs, all that stuff, and an injector so I can verify which one of these actually goes to the fuel injector, so that way I don't actually pin the wrong one. I'm pretty sure that's one of them right there. That's one of them right there. So it should be pretty easy. I'm just gonna depin these connectors, cut them very short, and then repin them for our new ones. So I got the engine harness modified. That is an I-wire replacement one. Like I said earlier, there was nothing inherently wrong with the last one, but we opted to do this one because the owner did have a suspicion that something may have been wrong with the last one. So preemptively, we got this one, and it's a nice little tucked harness too. It's rather small, very thin. It's not very girthy. And then with getting the harness modified, harness is now installed. I got the intake manifold back on, got all the subsidiary things reattached to it, the throttle cables, the coolant, expansion tank, stuff like that. We're actually almost done with this thing. This thing has gone by very quickly. It's gone by very fast. Hot mount intercooler, air oil separator lines. I gotta wire up the gauges too real quick, but that won't be too bad. Oh, I didn't think this far. I didn't think I'd get this far. I got this far. Let's start doing the air oil separator lines. Somebody did ask me, how do you do it on a 205? Because it's a little bit different than a 2.5 liter. So for the 205 or 2 liter, you've only got one breather on each head. You don't have two. So instead of connecting them to the crossover section in the middle and then to the PCV valve, we're just gonna send those lines up to the AOS. The whole reason you have the heads connected and the center of the block connected is to equalize pressure across the engine and to dump everything back into the PCV valve. But with having the AOS, it'll still be able to equalize pressure. It'll just equalize through the AOS instead of doing it through a crossover tube. So it'll clean things up a little bit more. There won't be as many lines going up top. There's still gonna be a lot of lines in here, but shouldn't be too bad. These two right here are gonna go to the turbo inlet. I've got a fitting right down there. I've got a fitting right here. We've got two coolant lines on the bottom. One's gonna go to the turbo. One's gonna go up here to the coolant expansion tank. Doesn't matter which one goes where. You've got your oil drain. That's gonna go down here to the Y fitting. You've got this line here coming off the side of it. That's gonna go underneath the throttle body. There's a little check valve down there. And you've got these three main ones. This bottom one is gonna be your breather for this that connects to the block down there. And then one of these will go to each head. Doesn't matter which one goes where. So let's go ahead and knock out all the AOS lines real quick. I'm gonna try to keep them as tucked as I can because I really like having AOSs with like very clean looking bays where there's not a whole bunch of hose going everywhere. So let me walk you guys through this AOS thing real quick because I know this still confuses a lot of people. Top two lines here are breather lines. They're going to go back to the turbo inlet. I like to snake them around like this because it gets them out of the way of the top mount intercooler and it just makes fitment a lot easier. One of them goes down here to this side of the turbo inlet. One of them goes to the top. This line here vents down. Follow that line, it goes under the throttle body to a check valve that goes into the intake manifold. Bottommost line here wraps down to the top of the breather to the Y fitting. Bottommost line is your oil drain, that goes to the other side of the Y fitting. These two lines here are going to be for your block breather heads. This one, I put a 90 here so that way I could actually have it go to this side of the engine easily. The other side just wraps around, and then as you guys can see right down there, goes to another 90. So with the AOS installed, we can now go to the bane of my existence, the top mounted intercooler. This is a Mishimoto one. I haven't used this one before. It looks a lot more friendly to install. It uses this contraption of a hose, and it actually goes to the side of the intercooler versus the bottom side. So it still has the standard portion where it's going to go to the throttle body. This just looks way easier to service, way easier to install. Yeah, okay, hey, I'm gonna pull these lines off for the AOS real quick. And I know some people like top mounts and whatnot. They're gonna defend the top mounts, and you know what? That's fine. You do you. I'm gonna live on my front mount intercooler supremacy over here. I'm already gonna lose my shit. I'm already gonna lose it. Come on, man. Why don't? Okay, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. We're on the turbo. Going to lightly tighten this guy down. I would imagine that this has some flex to it, so it should make our life a little easy. I want to have the clamp on here, so if I can get the clamp on, get the intercooler on, get the clamp on, hose is gonna stay on the intercooler, and then I should just be able to manhandle it onto the throttle. Go on, do not do this to me. Okay, you're on. Come on. Yes, 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 queen, yes, queen. Okay, so now I need to get the intercooler support bracket. First Mishimoto product I actually like. I like that. You can make it work with the AOS. It's just a very tight fit. We unfortunately will not be starting the car. The way I've actually started doing a lot of these builds for people, I'll build the car, and then we get it trailered down or taken down to Forced Induction Motorsports where it gets a break-in tune on their dyno. Then the owner picks it up, drives around for 500,000 miles or whatever, and is able to get some proper miles on it without having to feel rushed or jump straight into power tuning stuff. This way, the car gets mapped properly for break-in versus like e-tuning. E-tuning is totally fine also, don't get me wrong, but this way the owner doesn't have to go back and forth. They literally just pick up a car that they can then drive. General rule of thumb, if it's green, you can do green or blue. If it's blue, you can only do blue. And you don't know what I'm talking about, just put in the color coolant that came out. This has been my first time building an EJ20, and I will say, honestly, it's easier than an EJ25. There's a lot less sensors, a lot less wiring. It physically goes together the same, but overall, I mean, it's pretty simple. Honestly, if you're like looking to build a Subaru for the first time, I'd say do an EJ20 first. There's less hoses, less electrical, less wiring. EJ20. So with everything buttoned back up, the last thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and pressurize the fuel system, check for fuel leaks, and then my job here is done. And this thing's going to head out to go down to Le Tuner and get all Le Tuning stuff done. Okay, I found one fuel leak that we gotta fix. It's off the feed line up here. That one should be pretty easy.
It smells like fuel, but I don't see fuel.
Well, it leaked fuel earlier, so it's gonna smell like it.
I don't see any.
No?
No.
That means we fixed our fuel leak. We did! The Blaubai is all good to go now. So tomorrow morning, we're gonna come back to the shop. We're gonna get this thing loaded up on a trailer. Something is stabbing me in the pants. It's like a metal splinter or something on my lip. Oh, realistically, this car should be around that 360 to 400 wheel horsepower point, somewhere in there on pump gas. He's not gonna be doing ethanol, pump gas only. Like I said, this is gonna be his daily driver and his weekend warrior car. So I will see you guys bright and early to get this thing loaded up on a trailer and get it out of my life. Probably not for good, but for now. Good morning, everybody. Fernando broke his winch, so we are using the most comprehensive way to get a car up on a trailer with 2 ratchet straps. You just gotta use one ratchet strap to pull it up, another one to support it, and then keep going back and forth between them. Eventually the car will be up here. 100%. And the WRX is all loaded up, ready to get sent off for tuning. Personally, I've been a little bit more of a fan of this process versus going back and forth. It's me tuning and whatnot. It kind of just gets the car to a point where the drivability is sorted. They can just pick up the car, go drive it, and then come back when it comes time for power. So really excited to see what this one does. I'll keep you guys updated on this car. When it comes to the power tune stuff, it'll probably be a month from now or something like that. But little 2.1 liter, I'll try to get some more 2 liters on the channel. I actually might buy one for myself because I kind of enjoyed it. It's kind of nice doing a 2 liter. It's a lot more simple. It's drive by cable, not drive by wire. There's subtle differences. But with that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. We have a 2015 Plus STI coming in tomorrow that we are doing a rotated setup on, built motor. It's a hot boy looking car. It looks pretty good. So that, we've got an 05 STI coming in. This month is also very client heavy, which is cool with me because that's what pays for a lot of our builds also. So with this one done, send it off and we'll get started on the next one. So if you like the video, go ahead and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, cyan, whatever color it turns for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be, to see the plethora of Subaru rebuilds that we do, our own builds and everything else, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'll put it in one of these corners. No idea which one quite yet, but with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.